Hello and welcome back to Pedal and Ash. I'm your learner Glithy, and this is the Ramble. And I think it's been 2 weeks since my last upload. So, right, no one's gonna accuse me of being consistent. I've been pretty terrible. Well, let me be clear. I've been pretty terrible about the channel. Uh, Especially I think getting things uploaded. But in all fairness, this past week I was very sick, and that's why I haven't been uploading them. Um, let's see. What have I been doing these last 2 weeks aside from being sick? So this will might be a short upload. Uh, I guess as usual, let's start with Japanese. So, in terms of Japanese, I've been focusing on Migaku and Boon Pro, which has been going so I think. Um, Mostly because I am a legit terror and have skipped days. But as one does when you're sick, I guess. Um, but to be actually like about my Japanese, I did have a lot of good things going. Um, the week before I went out with friends and ended up actually like holding a conversation in Japanese with some people who weren't quite so good at English. And so that made me a little bit proud of myself. Um, Also, I did actually do my journal entries. I just didn't upload any because I didn't actually like record audio. So, getting there, I guess, is the right way to put that. Um, and in terms of the things I wanted to add in, like reading and listening, I mostly just, this is gonna sound ridiculous. I got back into watching One Piece, which is useful. And I also considered watching more anime as well as watching more learning YouTube's videos. I feel like that was a weird way to put that. But I say all this to say is that am still working on Japanese and I am being mostly consistent with my Japanese work. Um, I am going to try to do more journal entries and I'm going to try to get those into a place where I can actually uh, do some stuff to, get everything together. And specifically, what I want to do is do a major focus on reading and listening and speaking this month, or well, for the rest of this month, because when this comes out, it'll be August 16th, which is half over. But I think there is something to be said about, uh, how do I put this? Not worrying so much about YouTube and focusing on the grind. And so, what I want to do is probably, and I'll talk a little bit more about this separate from Japanese, is update my routines to actually incorporate YouTube better. I think the problem is that I say I'm going to upload these videos and I don't actually have some time to, do the thing. Sorry about like the extra noise. I am still kind of getting over this cold. And so let's talk about uh, life in general before I hit up exercise. So, what I mean by life in general is like my routines. So, I mentioned I have my morning routine, which is exercise, study, do a journal entry, all these things that I do in the early morning before I start, excuse me, before I start work or something like that. And I'm thinking about adding in the journal entry essentially to that morning stack. So I don't know if that means there'll be more journal entries or if that means that there will be uh, a more consistent upload, but I'm thinking about doing that. And so what that means is every weekday, because when weekends are a little weird for me, I will do a journal entry, which mostly is what I've been doing. But more importantly, I will add a recording to that journal entry, which I haven't been doing. And then from there, I can decide, right, maybe what to upload or just upload them all. I don't know if it really matters. um, but that's something for me to keep in mind. Another thing about this morning routine that I want to keep track of is actually getting it done. So, uh, which isn't all that. When I was deep in the cold, it was very hard to get up and do stuff because I had a bad fever. So, I didn't get my exercise in and things like that. So, we're going to have to build that back up. But I think there's something to be said about setting aside the block. The block is about 2.5 hours, I think. I'd have to check. I'm not sure. But it's a pretty long block to make sure that I actually do these things. Oh, wait, let me see. I checked. It's 3 hours. Um, this sounds like I have a leisurely time. Uh, Basically, this is for when I am work from home or off work, which I'm usually work from home. So that helps with doing these kind of things. Otherwise, I'd have to get up super early. Um, and so in this, I was thinking about the fact that I do have a pretty well structured morning routine, and if I should add in more things over the course of the day, because I think I need to actually like schedule in more activities. And this isn't just Japanese. This is also for the podcast for those of you who might have come over from there or have listened to it. Yapalate. And also just for my series of goals. Because as an aside, you probably, and I might do a separate video about this as things get more concrete or just talk about it on Yapalate. There are the changes that the Japanese government is doing for foreigners that the ones that directly affect me have mostly already been set, but I had thought about going for permanent residency in the next couple of years, and now I'm rethinking that thought. One is the expense, of course, but the other is the requirements. Uh, they're just they're not unclear, and they're not necessarily bad in the sense of what most people would say. Like I don't agree with them. Let me put that clearly. But what I mean is more or less is that everything's unclear right now, and they're talking about retroactively applying them. They're talking about just being harsh for the sake of being harsh, and just other things that I find I can't agree with, which makes me think about uh, my, I guess, my long term plans for Japan, but not really for Japanese. I'm still dedicated to Japanese. I still love things about this country. That's not really like my problem. Um, but right, I live in a place that is in a transition that is, well, for lack of a better term, unclear and specifically aggressively, um, yeah, I'm gonna say it, just aggressively kind of bigoted about what their reasons for doing things are. Um, because this has been a big change, and it's been a change that I probably have to like really make decisions about my life for. But that's another video once everything's kind of more set at the end of the year. Um, or even earlier, depending on like what decisions are made. So I think that was Japanese. That was a little bit of like life in Japan. And of course, as always, the last thing is exercise. Like I mentioned earlier, I have that small issue with being sick, but I think I've been doing pretty well on exercise. Aside from that, um, I think I mentioned the loop bands. They are doing me a solid, and it's making it easier to do progressive overload. But I also need to set myself up to be a little bit more clear about what I'm doing. I want to stick with my 40-minute regimes. Regimes? Is that the right word? My 40-minute routines is probably better. And basically, while I'm progressive overloading in the strength area, do the interval walking, and hopefully, uh, I don't know if it's possible, but I do want to get back to 6 days a week of exercise, which feels like a lot, but I think is really not that bad. Um, oh, and to wrap this up, because this is a short one, I am still on my goal, target, moving in the direction of losing weight, however you want to put that. I forgot what I am right now, but it's less than I was, and that's what matters. So, thank you for listening, and hopefully see you next week.